What's up, everybody? Just want to welcome you back to another top 3 of the week. And I gotta say, I had a lot of really good books this week. But one of the books that I can't put on this list because it came out last week was Dark Ride. If that book was out this week, I'm gonna tell you, that would definitely be hands down in my top 3. But it's not. So I feel like it would be an injustice or a disservice to this week's books if I did add that. So I can't do it. But if you haven't checked it out, Dark Ride, do it. I'm definitely putting that on my pull list because that book was awesome. Awesome. So with that being said, let's get into my top 3. So coming in at number 3 is Amazing Spider-Man, number 11. It's nice getting back to an actual Spider-Man arc, getting past those what felt like one-shots and stuff like that with the Hellfire Gala tie-in and the Axe Judgment Day tie-in. So yeah, so now we're getting into some stuff now. The Hobgoblin, right? This had an interesting twist, sort of, because, you know, Norman Osborn, he's doing better in life. He's being a better person. And there's a part in this book where you kind of think that maybe he might be reverting back to his old ways. But he's not. So it's just a cool, I don't want to give anything away. Even though I kind of did right there anyway. Sorry. But one part of this book I liked a lot. Now I know a lot of people want Peter Parker to go, get back with either Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane, which traditionally Mary Jane would have been nice, right? But they're definitely moving away from them in this book because Peter Parker actually had the he had the bravery, we'll say, to finally ask Felicia out on a date. So that's kind of moving forward. So, look, and now we're back to, and it's funny because reading the Mark Bagley and Dan Slott issue number 1 of Spider-Man, the artwork for Bagley was really nice. It was really enjoyable. And going back to this with, Romita Jr.'s artwork, it's kind of a transition, but that's not too bad right there. That's not too bad looking. But then, you get to, that's John Romita Jr. right there. So, but yeah, it's a really, really good book. The ending, there's part of this ending that I kind of did not quite understand, because this is the ending right here, and you're back in this apartment, right, with the baby, and the baby's in there and everything. And if you go back towards the beginning of the book, this goblin character, at the very beginning, breaks into the apartment and he's taking the baby. So I'm kind of confused about that a little bit, because nowhere in between do they really go over that. So now all of a sudden the baby's back in the apartment in the crib. I don't know. That was kind of confusing right there. But this was a good book overall, so I definitely recommend it. The Amazing Spider-Man, number 11. That Goblin boy. Now on to number 2. Now, I knew I was going to like this book once I found out about it, but I didn't expect myself to enjoy it as much as I did. But number 2 is The Approach, number 1. And man, this whole book, it's a setup to the story. It's setting up the story. But this whole book, it felt like I was literally watching the beginning part of like a horror movie. So there's a plane that comes, you know, it makes the weather, it's the snow, it's getting really, really bad. It don't really specify where they're at, but the weather is getting really bad, you know, almost like blizzard-like conditions and stuff. So there's a plane, it makes an emergency landing into the airport, and they pretty much have to go inside. It's a very small airport, and they're like literally the only plane there. So they bring all the passengers inside, everybody from the airplane, and they bring them inside, and they're like camping out in the terminal and kind of like hanging out there. So once they kind of sort of get settled in, there's another plane just out of nowhere comes in and it crashes. And you know, the rescue squad, which is a limited rescue squad in terms of the amount of people on the rescue squad, they go out there and they find, I think it was the captain of one of the pilots of the plane that crashed. And the guy up in the tower, you know, he's like, hey man, this plane disappeared 27 years ago. So they got the body, the pilot, they got the body inside the terminal in a separate room away from everybody. And they're, you know, he's laying on they have him covered in, you know, a sheet because he's dead, and on the table. So then one of the ladies, she goes back later on, and, you know, I don't know, she's just walking and checking or whatever, and yeah, there's your monster, alien or something. She's gone. But yeah, and that's where the book ends. But the artwork, man, the artwork is pretty cool. I mean, it's not the best, but you know, that's when they're downloading the plane that had made the emergency landing coming in. You know, you can see the snow, the buildup and everything, and there's the guy in the tower who, this is the plane that's coming in and about to crash. So I'm not gonna go into too much, but yeah, man, it's definitely a really good book. Definitely a really good book. So The Approach, issue number 1, highly recommend it if you haven't already. Boom, that's my number 2 book of the week. And before we get to number 1, if you're enjoying this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and you know, share it. And yeah, and also I have a Facebook page and an Instagram as well, so I'll put the link below. Go ahead, give me a follow over there, and you know, we can interact more, and, you know, all that good stuff. And now, number 1. Daredevil number 4. I mean, just this book is awesome. This really, you can really feel the story really moving along in this one. Matt Murdock, man, he's in his love, like stuck in his love thing where he's still in love with Kirsten. He's in love with Elektra. I mean, he's got some things to sort out with that. But you know, he finally reunites with Elektra in this, and you know, there he finds out that Frank Castle is the leader of the Hand, and yeah, so they're coming up with, they have to do this ceremony type thing to resurrect the Fist. And the way they do that is so right here, the souls of the dead, of the Hand's dead, they reside in this cave right here. So they have to go there. They basically have to defeat the souls, basically, when they are fighting in order to resurrect the Fist. So there's this whole, you know, battle that goes on. Elektra and Daredevil, they win, and yeah, man, this book is good. And Matt Murdock and Elektra, they get married, so they kind of they kind of need to, yeah. But I'm giving like a very brief narration of this, I guess. But man, this book is good. I finally was able to catch up all the way with The Punisher, so I was a little bit behind on that. But now that I'm all the way caught up with that and reading this, it's a really, really good two series or two runs that are about to collide, because in issue number 7 of Punisher, you know, Matt Murdock, or Daredevil, he shows up at the end of that issue. So it's about to go down. It's about to really progress. So yeah, the whole entire run of Daredevil has been good. I think, in my opinion, this is probably my favorite issue out of 4 so far, but this has probably been my favorite issue so far of this run. So I'm really looking forward to, you know, future issues. So yeah, Daredevil, man. The funny thing is I never thought I would be such a fan of Daredevil, but right now I am. So, well, that's all I got, man. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you guys are reading your books too, man, and love to know what you guys are reading. So with that being said, catch you on the flip side.